Well, welcome back to my channel, people. I hope you're doing well. I hope, you're having a very good and great, joy-filled, abundant day, evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time you're watching this video. I appreciate you tuning in. So, get your tea. I'm infamous for my tea, water, popcorn, whatever it is that you need to make you feel comfortable. Go ahead and get it, and we'll go ahead and get started, because today's topic is one that I'm sure you guys have all heard before, but it's my spin on it. Excuse the good old baggy t-shirt and the sweat and the little socks, the warm socks. It's a very, very, very cold day here in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, so today's topic is love. I am very big on love. I am one who thrives off of it. I need it. It's a survival tool for me. It's something that I'm very passionate about. It's a topic that I could talk about for hours. There's nothing about it that I'm not willing to learn. It's like my biggest teacher in life. So I wanted to talk to you today. So I wrote a list of things that I feel love is, and I'm going to express them to you. Disclaimer, these are just a few of the things. I've spent my entire life in search of what it is and learning new facets about it, and I just wanted to write down a few things that came to me right off the top of my head in terms of what love is. Putting someone else's needs before your own. Seeing yourself in someone. Honesty and trust, the connection between hearts, emotions, and feelings, mutual respect. It's involuntary. Now this one I had to write down. A strong emotional and mental state of being, enforced and inflicted in a positive way. And by far the most powerful emotion that a human being on earth can ever feel. It's a passionate commitment between two or more parties, or between thyself, that we internally nurture and develop. So those are the basis that I feel on what love is and how it's conducted. And I want you to go ahead and comment below and join in with me in this conversation of love. Is such an infinite topic. It could literally it changes every day. It's like an everlasting evolution, because we as human beings and as spirits and souls, we evolve on a daily basis, minute by minute, second by second. So I feel like the definition of love is infinite for that reason alone. And overall, when it comes to love, for me, it's more internal. It's not physical. It's really emotional, mental, and soulful and spirited. It's just that inner being for me, and that's how I feel love operates. For me, it's just so many things, and the definition is truly infinite. So all of those examples that I just gave were not from the dictionary. It was through my own experiences, movies that I've seen, feelings that I felt, feelings that I want to feel, feelings or thoughts that I feel are accurate through my own self-preservation, through my own experience. So that's how I feel about it. So let's start with a good quote from the 90s from a classic movie called Love Jones. Darius Lovehall. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure we all know about it. If not, what are you doing? Go to YouTube, rent the movie, buy the movie. Love Jones is forever a classic. Darius quoted, "Romance is about the possibility of the thing. It's about the time between when you first meet the woman, when you first make love to her, and when you first ask a woman to marry you. When she says, 'I do.' When people who've been together a long time say that the romance is gone, what they're really saying is that they've exhausted the possibility." I mean, so the quote was about romance, right? And, you know, if you've been together for quite some time, you know, things are not always fresh and new and invigorating and post when you first meet someone, of course. But the reason why I chose that quote, that very well known, over ostracized, overused quote, is because romance and love go hand in hand for me in one aspect. It leads me to my question: do you think it's possible for you to meet someone and for you to fall in love and for you to stay in love? What I've learned is that I think falling in love is easy. Getting the guy, getting the girl, getting the partner, first meeting them is easy because it's new, it's exciting, it's invigorating. It's like something, a breath of fresh air. It's something that you've never experienced before. I think that the challenge, well, I've experienced that the challenge more so is staying in love and maintaining the foundation of being in love, because love is so infinite. And I think that once you fully commit to loving someone, it never goes away. It may dwindle, the levels may intensify or decrease or may change. I think even if you honestly feel that you don't love someone anymore, I think that that's not entirely true, because if you truly did love someone, that love will never go away. But that's another conversation. What I want to talk about right now is being in love. How do you handle being in love? Are you someone who is good to stay in love for the first few months or the first year or so and then get bored? Or are you someone who doesn't find or doesn't stop at trying to find a way to, you know, I know for me, I have experienced different situations where loving was never hard, but being in love was a bit challenging. And not so much from my point of view or from my perspective, not saying that it was always the other person, because I do believe that in anything it takes two. But I'm more of a person who, because I know the possibility that Darius Lovehall speaks of, it's not so hard for me to stay in love. Well, I'm the spirit who can kind of sense when something's like getting old or something's dwindling or some things are going wrong, and I'm the first to be like, okay, so what can I do to spice it up? I'm not just talking in terms of partnership or from husband to husband, wife to wife, husband and wife, wife and husband. I'm talking about in terms of friendship, in terms of, you know, the relationships that you have in your life, point blank in the period. You know, if I feel like when one of my friends and we haven't spoken quite some time and there's a certain kind of disconnect, I'll pick up the phone and call and say, hey, what's going on? Try to find out what's new in their life, see if I can relate to it, spark up a conversation, just to maintain that in loveness. That's not even a word. In loveness. It's a word now. So quirky. Now, in terms of partnership and intimacy, I do feel like, you know, one can be in love forever. That's another question. I mean, do you think that is it possible to be in love forever? I feel like my reasoning before, when asked if I can be in love forever, would always be yes. Reason being, I've seen it happen. I have come into acquaintance with people who have not only been married and not married, but have survived relationships and partnerships for 30 and 40 years where they are still in fact in love. And I'm not talking about loving each other. I'm talking about that good giddy feeling, that fresh feeling that, you know, it's just always evolving and they're enjoying the ride with each other. Now, I am not blind, nor do I believe that every day is supposed to be peachy and things are supposed to be great and perfect, but I do feel like, you know, there's a chance to be in love, and to be in love is work. It means always, for me, questioning yourself in terms of checking in with yourself. How do I feel today? Do I still feel the same way I felt 6 months ago, 6 years ago, whatever have you? No, okay, why is that? Examining why and then trying to fix the why. Not just examining it and saying, okay, it's different, let me just go ahead and fall into boredom, or let me just go ahead and fall into, okay, this is never gonna work. It's more so like, okay, what can I do? How can I change me? Not change the other person, but how can I change me that hopefully connects with the other person? So that was my reason before, that I seen it, that I witnessed it happen. Whereas my reason today has significantly changed to more so, I do believe that people can stay in love for long periods of a time, and for longevity, because I know what I'm capable of. So I took my reason off of being what I've seen someone else, because clearly that's not me. That I've never been in love for 30 something years, 40 something years, besides within myself. But it doesn't really work for me, because that can't be true for me, because I seen someone else, I seen it work for someone else. What works for someone else clearly will not work for me, and does not work for me. So because I've gotten to know myself and fall in love with myself as an individual, I know my purpose, I know my passion, I know what my possibilities are, I know what I'm capable of. That's why I feel today that a person or two people, two or three, whatever the relationship is, no judgment, can be in love and stay in love for long periods of time. I think that it's important that you find new ways to fall in love, and that you don't become complacent, because I think ultimately complacency is one of the foundations of falling out of love, or not maintaining the whole not maintaining the whole in loveness. I'm gonna laugh every time I say that word. Okay, so the next question. Do me a favor, comment below and let me know what you think about staying in love and being in love. Is it something that you shy away from? Is it something that you're willing to indulge in? How do you change as a person? How does it make you feel? So, second question I have is about limits. What are the limits you have in love? Are there any limits in love? Have you experienced any limits in love? I know for me, I think love is limitless to a certain extent. And I know that's kind of like a metaphor, like kind of like a contradiction. How do you say limitless to a certain extent? I mean, in different areas, like love of self, love of what you're attracted to in a person, love of what a person does for a hobby or a career or whatever have you, that complimented you once before, and being in love that no longer compliments you. I think that it is all about finding new ways to stay in love and to maintain in love, but are there certain limits? I know that it's very possible that what once attracted me to a person, whether it be their hobbies or even their looks or whatever have you, when I didn't think it had a limit, capped. Meaning, how I see them today, it differs from how I seen them in the beginning, maybe, and aided me in falling in love, but today it aids me in no way possible in staying in love. So I do think that there are limits in love in terms of simple things, and I think attraction is simple. Not to be confused, to be discounted, or not an important factor, because it's a very important factor. But I think the levels on what factors are important hold a big play, and I feel like attraction is just one of the other levels that can kind of maneuver up and down or whatever. That in terms of maintaining love and maintaining being in love, I think that attraction has a lower level opposed to the feeling I get from when I'm around someone. But again, it all leads back to limits. I feel like the foundation of how you feel, or how you will always feel for someone, is limitless. But I think there's different stages of love in terms of, number one, being in love and staying in love. I think there are certain limits. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think that it's just possible that since we evolve, it's natural and it's typical for things to change. Of course, you may have capped in one area, but it's provided a foundation for you to grow in another area. So I think that's what I feel I know that's what I feel when it comes to limits on love. Next and last question is, do you think that it's possible to be hurt and still be in love? Now, I know we should know that it's possible to get hurt and love and move on from hurt and love, but is it possible to get hurt by the one that you're so in love with and then move on from it, forgive it, and then kind of dwindle a little bit in being in love? I think for me, it's very possible. I think that when you're hurt, first of all, hurt is inevitable, right? So I think that when you're hurt, the beautiful thing about being hurt is that it brings about lessons. You discover new things about another person, but most importantly, You focus on the discovery of things about yourself. Because I'm sure that when you were hurt or when you get hurt, sometimes you kind of know that, all right, that one thing was going to hurt me and it happened or whatever have you. But the actual feeling that you start to get when you start to learn from the lesson of why you were hurt and how you were hurt, I think that's just like out of this world. It's one of the most priceless things in this world, the lesson that you get from being hurt. I don't think that we should be scared or hold back or hesitate on being in love with someone or approaching something or someone because we're afraid to get hurt. Because the reality of it is, I was just having this discussion with a friend yesterday, or maybe the day before yesterday. The reality of it is that we're always going to get hurt. We are always going to be, as long as we allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to enter something new with someone that's exciting and fun, invigorating, and all of that good, great stuff that makes us fall in love, we're signing up to be hurt. Now, how often it takes for you to get hurt or how often you're actually being hurt, that's something that you may need to evaluate. But there is no such thing as being with someone and never getting hurt. I think that it really just boils down to asking yourself, is that person worth you getting hurt from or by? That's what it boils down to for me. Because the people that you love the most, we hear it all the time, hurt you the most. Because it wouldn't hurt if they meant nothing to you, if you felt nothing from them, right? So I think that the people that you love the most will end up hurting you the most. And that's just what it is. You just have to, trust them a little bit and trust yourself a lot. Meaning you trust them that they won't hurt you, or if they do hurt you, they will be able to make it up to you where you can forgive them and move on from it. But you trust yourself more in the fact that you have to know that no matter what, you will be okay. No matter what happens, whether you have to move on, or whether you move on with or without them, you will always be okay. So that's my thought process on hurt and being in love and all that other good stuff. Do me a favor and definitely leave your comments below. Send me an email at iserverealness@gmail.com and we can talk about it more if you don't feel comfortable in terms of the comments you want to leave below for the public to see. I'm always a listening ear. I'm always willing to, converse back and forth via email. So that's all I have. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye, people. Oh, live in light, love, peace, and prosperity. Live in love first and foremost. Okay? That's all. Namaste, people. You didn't think I was going to let you go without asking you to subscribe again, right? So if you have not done so already, please do me a favor and subscribe to the I Serve Realness channel. Like, comment, and share if you would. It would really, 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 really do me a great service. And why not allow me to serve you realness, right? So don't forget, like, comment, share, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel. There I go laughing again. Love you.